Penny Jake, the tribe has spoken.
Fuck you, Kevin.
Aw, fuck you too, sweetie.
I'm JJ, one of the original Tribe of Nerds members. You can catch me on Marvel, Pokemon, and other gaming podcasts.
What up? It's Josh, resident superhero nerd, but I also dabble in the occasional super villain as well.
Some may know me as the Chaos Gremlin, but really I'm just Joe King.
Pikachu, use Volt Tackle! Good job, Pikachu!
On the Tribe of Nerds.
At least we get more
I
music.
love this song just because of Lost.
Alright, so we just gotta peek into what's down there. Did I technically predict that? Because I said a lab or something is down there.
It's a man.
Yeah.
You were pretty close.
Where are you going?
I lost the damn dog.
So glad Kristin's not here to roll her eyes.
Why'd you do this? Sucks, dude.
Dang.
Jack's very pragmatic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recognize her?
Well, at first I thought it was Julie Bowen again, but I don't think it's her. No.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Yes, because it's okay. So this is him fixing her, so she goes. Okay. Of course, John Locke doesn't go by himself. Again, of course, he didn't go down himself.
Well, good luck, brother. See you in another life, yeah?
So is he the guy that's down here that we saw in the opening? Because this looks like the exact same body and the hair. Why is this like what I pictured? I like the beginning. Like I pictured a cabin in the woods type of thing. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Michael, Kevin, Kristin, Gregg, and I are here for season 2, episode 1 of Lost. We are down the hatch, so to speak, or quite literally, we are down the hatch. So, what did you guys think of this episode?
Season 2. How are we on season 2? Feels like we just started. Look how far we've come.
I know.
Like we get to talk about Desmond. We've been talking about Desmond so much, like in the lead up to this in our little spoiler section. Like he's going to meet Desmond down the hatch. Whenever you were talking about like your theories of what was down there, so yeah, we finally get a Desmond. I was
finally able to share the fact that I met Desmond because I've been holding on to this picture forever. So, yes, I think season 2, especially this episode, opens up so much more of Lost that we're about to dive into, and it's just like, I don't know. I just like Kevin brings up all the time, like the questions that you get from Lost, like the mysteries. It's like, what? Okay, I need to know more. And of course, we're gonna be left on a massive cliffhanger, which is great.
Back in 2005, we had months between them looking down into the hole and then like wondering what's in the hole. So then like you got this episode and it was like, what's in the hole? And it's so good. It's still, even though I didn't have to wait months this time, it's still so good. Oh, I love it.
Still one of my favorite episodes. Desmond is still one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, also the title of this one is so perfect for what we've kind of already been seeing throughout season 1. So even just in the title right off the bat, you're like, oh, this is like summing up everything from season 1. And what are we about to find out in season 2? So I think it even just like the attention to details that we always bring up.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode, like getting some theories confirmed as well, that I thought that it was some sort of lab down there, and to see that come to fruition is pretty fun. I'm excited to see how it goes. At the moment, now I'm thinking it is, like I said, a lot like or not a lot, but like similar to like Cabin in the Woods, except without a bunch of crazy monsters. Although this might explain the polar bears. So like, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens from here.
Like the wheel, just like. So shall we jump into it?
Let's go.
This is also when we talked about doing a trailer, the start of this episode is Desmond, but we don't know it yet. We see this person wake up and go about their day and things like that. But I had mentioned to Jake I wanted to put the song as like me like so giddy about Lost. It's like that. What's that? It's Pedro Pascal and like
and Nicholas
in the car. Yeah. And I'm like, that would be perfect of me like so giddy for Lost playing the song and then Jake like, what the hell's wrong with you? But I was like, if we could figure that out, it would be great. And he's like, what song are you talking about? This was the song. I love this song. Yeah. It's so we got left out, supposedly months ago, but for Jake, it was not so long ago. But finally the hatch is open. The hatch is open, but now we start off this episode of like, everybody thought we were going to find out them going down. We're starting off with like this person. You're like, wait, are we starting off with a flashback? What is happening? Oh, not a flashback. We see this like jolt happen, which is them blowing up the hatch to get it open. And we see a new character, which is fantastic. It's a fantastic way to start an episode. But I know for myself, like sitting there watching, I'm like, this is not how I thought we were starting this episode. So what's happening here? So Jake, I kind of want to jump to you right off the bat. What were your thoughts when this episode started? Like, were you expecting us to like just immediately like leave off with them looking down and like now we're moving down the hole? Or were you like, are we doing a flashback? What were your thoughts going into this?
Yeah, I thought a flashback at first, and I'm like, who are we doing a flashback for? And then I didn't recognize who it was, so I'm like, okay, it can't be someone I've seen before because this doesn't match up with with the characters we've gotten to know. And then it slowly zooms out, starts climbing up the hatch, and like I'm like, oh, okay, so this is exactly what or somewhat like what I thought it might be. What is down the hatch? So I really, really liked this opening and great music. So
it's such a
shout out to Mama Cass Elliot. Make your own kind of music. That's like I was obsessed with that song after this episode. I was just listening to it all the time. My first thought when I saw this, I thought, is this like a Sawyer flashback? I just saw like a guy in good shape with longish hair. I was like, we're starting with a Sawyer flashback after that cliffhanger? Really? Like, why? And no, it's not. It's a different, well-groomed Scottish guy.
No, it's such a good because it seems like a like morning routine, right? Like the person's getting up, they're making breakfast, they're doing their little workout, and so like you don't know what's happening, and then there's the jolt, and it takes a minute to realize like, oh, this is the person in the hatch. That was the hatch. That was when they blew it up. Like, oh, it's so good. It's done so well. Like, I didn't think that it was Sawyer, but I wasn't sure who it was. Mm-hmm. But I did not expect it in 2005. I did not expect it to be the person in the hatch.
Yeah, I thought it was a new character from one of the Crashies. Like, I didn't think it was in that. I thought it was going to be a new character added to the main characters because Boone died.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then boom.
I mean, technically, it's a new character added because Boone died. Yeah, I remember watching this and I kind of felt like everybody else is like, wow, this is a strange way to start this episode. Like, I don't understand why I thought we were going down the hatch and now we're like, what are we doing here? But it's one of those things that like, it very quickly just like consumes you again because now you're like, oh my god, they're outside. Wait, what is happening down here? What's going on? So I just thought that this was a brilliant opening, especially after leaving us on that cliffhanger for the finale. I mean, after this, obviously, we're seeing them. They're looking at the remnants of what has just happened, right? Like we know that Hurley was like trying to stop this. We've got, Jack or Locke, he's just kid in a candy store, like, I finally got this open, like what's happening? But we do see, I mean, Jack's like, we're opening this because we were gonna hide everybody from these people that are coming. We obviously can't get them all down here, so we need to reevaluate this. Like, we should come back tomorrow when it's light, assess the situation. Locke's like, but we were meant to do this. Like, we've got to get down there. Like, this is the point. Like, we open the hatch, and Kate's like, anybody happen to look at the door? It says quarantine on it. Like, I don't like. What are we doing here? But also a major point that happens here because we also got left on the cliffhanger from the finale of the raft. And this is kind of a huge moment here because we see that I'm started off early in season 2. Shannon is useless and lost Vincent right off the bat. So with that, they do try to go find Vincent. Of course, he's running off, and
who goes to try and find Vincent?
Listen, Saeed. Saeed was there.
No. Who cares enough and is like, despite it being a dead of night, I'm going to go find Vincent.
Who made sure we made time to go find Vincent?
It was Saeed. It was definitely Saeed. With that, well, of course, I would hope that she's going to go find the dog that she lost. I mean, I would hope so.
Well, she cares.
I mean, yeah, I'd care if I have to tell a little boy I lost his dog. However, speaking of said little boy, we have the dog running off, and oh my God, he's in the jungle. Like, we have Shannon going, Walt, like, what the hell are you doing here? And then, of course, Saeed runs up on her. She's heard all the whispers and all those things as well. Saeed walks up, and no Walt. So we're trying to figure out what's going on here because we do know that this raft has been blown up. We do know that Walt was kidnapped and all of these things. Jake, what's running through your head in this moment besides Shannon being useless and losing the dog?
So the voices that we've heard about are interesting, so it makes me think that, and it makes me definitely worried for what happened to Walt, because I'm like, is it because these are people that have gotten killed here, or like whatever? And if you notice, well, I think I noticed like Walt seemed like he was like soaking wet when he showed up, so which would mean maybe they threw him, in the ocean, or I don't know. Like I just don't really know what that is supposed to mean yet, but that was kind of what I noticed.
Anybody else want to talk about
I will join Michael in defending Shannon here, because
how are you going to even defend her? She lost the dog. Of course, she should go look for the dog.
Did she lose the dog? Did she lose the dog, or was it because the dog also heard the whispers? Maybe her whispers, it sounded like Walt, right? Did she lose a dog, or did the dog go chasing the same whispers that she's hearing? And I think that's a fair question, and I think it is fair to assume that the dog, Vincent probably heard the things that she also heard. No, anyway.
I was like, camera's going up. I only do it to mess with you.
Anyway, no. Okay. I thought I heard him say, it's really like, I'm never good at hearing the whispers, and I don't have captions turned on, but I thought I heard him say tell Locke, but I didn't hear him say what tell Locke, like tell Locke what?
Yeah, so that's not something that captions picks up either, so I didn't hear anything specific. That's the other weird thing, like he's there soaking wet, and then also he's speaking, and it's like the voice isn't coming out of his mouth. It's like this weird garble.
It's like a dream. Like, when somebody's talking in a dream, you can't quite understand them, even though like your hearing is like, it's very that. And then I thought I heard him say, tell Locke. And I was like, tell Locke what? And then he's gone. And I was like, no, stop trying to talk to Locke. He's the useless one.
It's his friend. On the Shannon thing, Vincent runs off all the time. Vincent doesn't stay put. Even, I can't remember if it's Jack or somebody says to Shannon, oh no, it's probably Saeed. Saeed is like, he does this all the time. He'll come back. He always does. But Shannon cares enough that, look, I was given this dog by this kid. I'm not going to wait for him to come back. I'm going to go find him. She is doing things. We had the same argument all of season 1. Shannon doesn't do anything. Shannon does something, and you still bitch about it. Like, what do you want from her?
I just had to start off season 2 with a bang, Michael. Like, obviously, right off the bat, she's losing poor Vincent.
I have to give Shannon the benefit. The fact that she accepted the fact that she's useless and even lost the dog.
Michael got so excited.
But she
you,
still
Gregg.
lost the dog
Thank you,
and she's
Gregg.
useless. But she even said it herself. She said the only thing that anybody on the island has trusted me is with that damn dog, and I lost it.
See? Yep, she says it herself. Thank you, Gregg, for the backup and the assist.
That was such a bait and switch. I was so it's like, oh my god, like pretty much everyone's on my side. Can we talk about the Jack Locke stuff as well, and like
go right ahead,
all the Shannon stuff? Yeah, because this whole dynamic between the two of them, and you see that there's such like a power dynamic where they both want to be in charge in different ways, and Jack's like, "Pack it up, John. Like we're going." And you can just see, look, he kind of smiles, like he does agree. Like he does agree, Kevin. He doesn't agree for long, but he does agree in this moment.
No, I mean,
5 seconds.
While I understand, like, the plan was to put people in here, we've now opened it. We realize we can't put the people in here, so we're gonna have to abandon. Like, I am not opening that door that locks from the inside, which means someone at least was alive in there, maybe still is. I'm not just walking away from that in the middle of the night and being like, all right, especially when I know that there's people going around kidnapping pregnant ladies on this island. So like, Jack's like, nah, let's just sleep on this. Jack, I need to defend you here. I need you to be a little smarter than that. But like, John Locke just being like, tee, okay, sure. Like, God, you're the worst.
The worst.
He's the best.
Let's not throw that around.
but yeah, like they did all this to get in there. I do like the moment where Locke's like, "This is why we came out here to get in the hatch," and Jack's like, "And to save everyone's lives." And Locke's like, "Yeah, and to save everyone's lives." Clearly secondary.
Right.
Because Locke is the only person that Locke cares about. He doesn't care about saving all their lives. He cares about I'm special and I'm supposed to open this. So now I opened it. So now what's my next special prize?
Fair.
I love that right off the bat, the Locke and Shannon hate has continued.
Oh
I will like saying this before we go on to this next part though. I remember this Walt situation of him whispering and me being like, oh my God, I need to know what he said. And like, it's like watching on TV, then obviously you can't, this isn't rewind and all those things. When season 2 comes out on DVD set, I'm first in line to buy this for this exact moment that I can like go right up to my TV, pause it, like rewind it, pause it, like listening to this, trying to figure this out. And I know it's a fun thing, which isn't really a spoiler here, is that because like, who cares? Is in the Lost, like the message boards and stuff after this has happened, people are like, he's talking backwards, which is like kind of what Kevin's saying, like in the dream, you're not really getting anything. Like, you know, he's trying to say something, but like, why the hell is he talking backwards? So it's like adding in all this other stuff of like what Jake's saying is he dead? Is he, what's happened? Like, we don't, no idea what happened on this raft here. We know that he's now gone, but why is he showing up to Shannon of all people? But like, you know, like, why is he there?
They're connected through Vincent.
I know.
Say, yeah.
I know. He was showing up for Vincent. He wasn't showing up for Shannon, that's for sure. No, anyway. Going to our first flashback, obviously, we see that we are in a hospital. We are told that there is a crash that is coming. Lo and behold, it's the moment that I told Jake that it happened like 10 years ago, but it actually didn't. It's happening right now. But with that, we do see that Jack is presented these 2 patients. He immediately goes to work on this woman, and they're like, "Doctor, we're needing you," but he's like trying to get her all situated and stable first because she's pretty bad. But while he's doing that, he had to make the choice because lo and behold, other patient has died. Jack did not get there in time. You know, again, I mean, I think that's extremely hard for a doctor. Like, you just made a choice.
I've seen enough Grey's Anatomy. They could have done CPR for another minute while he did that. Okay.
Well, maybe they didn't see that episode of Grey's Anatomy, so they didn't know how to do it. You don't know.
Maybe if Jack cared enough about every patient rather than just the ones he wanted to marry.
Oh.
Not the burn it, Jack. Anyway, but yes, we do hear her say she whispers something. The nurse is like, "What's she just saying?" He said she wants to know if she'll dance at her wedding. So with that, we're now kind of introduced to this new character as well through Jack's flashback of what this possibly will be. And it's going to lead to kind of this entire episode again of like the decisions that he makes of the man of science, man of faith thing here, because it's going to get like really prominent as we see him running later on in this episode. But also I have to point out that the numbers that I don't have to hide from Jake anymore, it was at 8:15 when they were brought in. So very interesting kind of situation if you guys are catching those things. Anything you guys want to bring up on the flashback before I go back to the island here?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I recognized her in that moment, and then I realized, you know, it was Julie Bowen, and we were carrying this storyline from season 1 when Michael and I were watching this episode. So I was glad that I didn't recognize that it was Kristin's accidental spoiler till we got there. But I found that that really good storytelling again to call back to that last episode with Jack. So
yes, tiny hands.
Jake, did you catch the name of the other patient?
I did not.
Because I did this time.
I was letting one of you do because I was like, I didn't get to watch this episode with you, so I'm like, let me make sure.
Yeah, I did not.
I caught it this time. I believe it's Adam Rutherford.
Oh, isn't that Shannon's last name?
It is Shannon's last name.
Need a pappy.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for the Lost Brant steal for giving me everybody's last name.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So he died.
He died.
Who was Shannon, yeah?
Because
Yeah,
Jack
Kristin?
didn't come over and help him fast enough, maybe.
I mean, maybe Shannon should have been there and then he wouldn't have died. I don't know.
Wow.
I mean, I'm
Victim
gonna
blaming.
always spin it that it's Shannon's fault. You have to know this by now. Going back to the island here, obviously they've decided to pack it up. They're heading back to the caves. Jack is like, hey, Hurley, I'm not gonna let you forget this. I definitely heard you acting a little crazy, talking about some numbers. I need to know the story. Hurley's kind of reluctant at first, but he then does share with Jack, and I think this is a very huge moment for Hurley, to which, Jack, you're such a dick in this moment. Like you
For
are
no reason.
for
no
no
reason.
Like let them, like, you're on an island. You guys have survived a plane crash. Now you're blowing things up to hopefully save yourself from whatever's about to come. And he's trying to be raw and vulnerable with you in this moment. Whether you think he's nuts or not, like, live in the moment. Like, just be there for poor Hurley. Like, my God. But I think it just, again, we know Jack is like, and again, this episode is titled very perfectly, Man of Science, Man of Faith. But we know that Jack is very literal, and we've seen it time and time again. But I think in this moment, he's like, they're just numbers. Like, as he would, as any doctor, man of science would, it's just numbers. There's no such thing as all these things that you're talking about, these curses and whatnot. Anybody want, I mean, I know that Kevin will most likely try and defend him in this moment, but hopefully he realizes that it's undefendable. But I just think that this was a horrible, like, we talk about Jack's bedside manner, which we're kind of going to get into, it's even brought up in a flashback here in just a second, but like, his bedside manner, not so great. You need to work on this, Jack, as a doctor.
It's an ongoing thing he needs to work on, though. So, like, it fits in with his character. It's fine. It's not everyone is perfect, okay?
Yeah.
Yes, Kevin. Not everyone is perfect.
Jack.
Okay, but, like, John Locke is not just not perfect.
Yeah.
John Locke has a lot of flaws.
I'm like, he's gonna spin it somehow.
He's got a lot of flaws.
Yeah, I will have some more to say on John Locke when we get to a moment later, but
I'm gonna get to. I just was giving Kevin a moment where he wanted to defend this moment because I know the caves were about to have another moment.
Yeah.
So.
right.
I mean, listen, people make mistakes. People don't handle things well sometimes. It happens. It's fine.
But I was just gonna bring up, like, with Hurley and Jack here, when Hurley calls Jack out, I was like, ooh, like, while watching, like, that was like, Hurley's definitely in the right here because Jack is just being very blunt, and I'm not really someone who takes bluntness very well either. So I'm on Team Hurley on this one.
It's just kind of so out of pocket. Like, Hurley is really opening up to Jack. And presumably in Hurley's mind, he's opening up to someone that is very safe to open up to. He's a doctor.
Right.
And the fact he's just like, you're in a psych ward? It's like, fuck you, Jack. What?
Yeah, it was very rude.
Yeah, not a great look for Jack.
It's the thing I was thinking when he said it, but I wouldn't have made that my reply. Right. I would have kept that in the back of my head for later. So like, I understand Jack having the thought. He just needed to have a better filter, but it's fine. It's fine.
I only stopped there just because it is a thing that is brought up later on in his flashback with our patient here. So
right.
Yeah, I do think it's a thing that is purely. It's kind of a bad character moment for Jack that is only there so that when we see his bad bedside manner in the flashbacks, it kind of all comes together. So I can kind of understand from the show writing point of view why Jack would say that in that moment, but it does seem like really unlike Jack in that particular scene.
From what we've known up till now, yeah. Sorry, Greg.
Sorry, I can kind of understand from Jack's point of view. Because Hurley just said this weird ass story, and then he's like, and it all came from the psych ward.
Yeah.
Like, was all that in the psych ward?
Yeah. I also was just gonna point out Jack's hair. I wasn't used to seeing Jack with that lawn of hair. Like, I was like, oh, okay, Jack. I guess we're going with that look until you decide to shave your head. So
I mean, you have to remember too that it's 2005. So this is a flashback. This is like the 90s.
Yeah.
Like, that haircut makes perfect sense for that flashback.
It was very 90s boy band.
Exactly.
But also, I mean, so back on the island here, like obviously after Jack has made a complete like horrible bedside manner moment, we do get them back at the caves. He's telling everybody, hey, we're gonna get you down there and keep you safe, but scratch that. We're gonna have to somewhat figure out something here. Again, I feel like, yes, he's like trying to be positive in this moment, but you see that this is a moment where Jack is like, not like, everybody needs to chill out. Like, why are you all freaking out? Like, oh, I don't know, big black pillar of smoke. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this is very much not great for him as the leader. He's made a couple errors here, starting with Hurley. But
this is a really difficult time to be a leader.
I understand. I understand completely. I'm just, I have to point him out. If I point him out on Shannon, I got to point him out on Jack. With that, I mean, we do see that he's giving this like, speech of like, we're all fine, we're all gonna be good, and then Locke comes in as Locke normally does, ready to just uproar everything, like like a funeral. This man doesn't care. He don't care about anything special. He's like, let me just get to what I'm doing. And Jack's like, bro, what are you doing? He's like, I'm going down the hatch. Like, see you later. Like, I get why you can't. I get it. Like, you stay here. I'm going down the hatch because this is all I've wanted to do before I like made poor Boone die over this. Like,
this is all I've wanted to do for the past 10 minutes, so now I got to do it. That's what I want.
I do also love that this is like a very much like a child and parent situation, because it's like your kids are like, when are we gonna go? Can we go now? Is it time for us to go? Like, are we gonna go now? And Jack being the parent is like, bro, like wait till morning. Like, just, it's like 5 more hours. Chill out. Like, but he is just, like I mentioned earlier, kid in a candy store. This hatch is open. He is calling to him. It's like when money's like burning a hole in your wallet, right? It's like these are the moments that Locke is looking forward to. So he takes off and he's sitting there rigging things up. And of course, then you have Kate being the good soldier that Kate is, going, I'm going to go after him. And Jack's like, let's not, and say we did. And she's like, no, but like, I've got to. And she goes off, and again, this Locke moment, I was waiting for you because I also don't want to die, and I'm going to put you in Boone situation. So here you go, Kate.
Right. I'm going to try to make you Boone 2.0.
Yeah, I'm not going to be the one. Yeah. But yeah, so we do see that, Kate's like, oh, I thought you'd be halfway down there. And he's like, I was waiting for you. I hate that line because it's exactly what he was doing. He's like, I'm not going to be the one that's going to go experience this. I'm going to send somebody else down. Like, it's like history repeating itself, Kate. Like, Boone just died. What are you doing?
Yeah, this was
far away.
Yeah, this was the moment when Michael and I were watching. I'm like, he's doing it again. Like, John Locke is sending someone else down instead of going himself. Like,
it's just like, also, I don't understand why Kate's not feeling this though. Like, Boone literally just died, and Locke's like,
Like,
you're going down.
he wanted to explore the hatch, but first he was going to send somebody else.
Kate wanted to go down. What do you want from him?
I want him to stop endangering the lives of others just because he's curious. He's like a really naughty cat. He just like really wants to know. He's really curious and he's hurting people in the process.
Well, I mean, to that point, let's get it. He starts lowering her down. This is also this moment, like, he's such a dick. Y'all, like, let's just not even get this twisted again. He's lowering her down and she's like starts seeing something at the butt. Like, she's like, this isn't looking right. And she's like,
something's moving.
Like, what is it? It's like, also, it's like, this is how all the scary movies start. Like, just stop doing it. Just don't do it. But she's like, Locke, think there's something down here. And he's like, are you okay?
What does she have to defend herself?
Right. Well, exactly. I mean, before
a flashlight that she dropped.
Right, that she dropped. But also, I have to point out that, like, right before this happens, the tree breaks and she's, like, gets thrown down there. He does stop her, and she's obviously visibly shaken, right? And so she's like, Locke, wait, maybe we should and he just, like, she doesn't even finish the sentence. He just keeps lowering her down. He's like, you're already down there. I don't care about your feelings right now.
He just saved her life.
Oh my gosh, stop. You can't.
What? He did.
Michael.
I know, but, like, let the girl breathe for a moment.
He ripped up his hands and saved her life.
Listen,
and then instead of listening to her when she's like, okay, terrified. Now I'm scared because I almost died, bring me back up. He's like, nope.
You can't hear her up there.
Nope. He didn't save her life to save Kate. He saved her life
so she could continue to find out what's in that.
So there was a person that was already down there so that he didn't have to risk his life to be the first one to go down there.
It would have been okay, though, because she would have just been another island sacrifice.
Right.
Not a big deal.
Not a big deal. Not a big deal.
Still going.
Another sacrifice the island demanded.
All right.
Which, wait, has anyone else at this point seen that the light turns on? Like,
he saw it right at...
He saw it when Boone dies. So he knows someone's down there.
Yes.
Or something. I don't know if he necessarily presumes it's a person, but like something producing light.
Something turned the light on and then turned it back off. So he knows there's something down there. Like something that is capable of doing that.
Speaking of this moment, as he's lowering Kate, she does start to see these like creepy, like something is moving, and she's like, Locke, I think something's down here. Lo and behold, this light comes on again. And in a moment, you see kind of Locke going like, oh, great. Like, this is good. This is what I saw. Only to have this cable being ripped from him. And this is where he's bloody in his hands. First of all, why is nobody wearing gloves when it's working with a cable? This isn't a rope. This is a metal cable.
You found everything else on that island. There's got to be gloves somewhere.
Or not even, like, wrap a shirt around it. Like, this is not, who's holding a cable barehanded? Whatever. But
I will say there was a smarter moment between Jack and Locke here, because when Jack later goes down, he does wrap his hands up in the t-shirt. So Jack was smarter than Locke.
Jack did have that moment. But so at this point, Kate is now gone. The light turns off. Kate is gone. He pulls up the cable. Nothing there. Way to go, Locke, because how are you going to explain this one to the camp now? He just killed Boone, and now Kate's gone. Can you imagine what's going through Locke's head in this moment of like, shit, what am I going to tell the camp?
What if he's jealous?
Now he has to go down, yeah.
He's probably jealous because he wanted to get sucked into that last hole in the ground by the monster. And now Kate gets sucked down into the ground. Like, he's probably jealous.
Yeah.
That's one way to look at it, I guess. But I mean, no sooner does Jack also finish this speech of like, we're all hanging out here at the caves, but because Kate has now gone, I have to go out. So see you guys later. Which everybody's like, I thought we were hunkering down for the night, and now three of you are just like going off again. Like, what's happening here? Also, if I'm in the camp and these three just keep like, they just are like, we're hunkering down, we're fine, and they're taking off, I'd be like, what do they know that I don't know? Like, should I be protecting myself? Like, what is happening here? So I don't know. I think that was just, again, not a good look for Jack here. But he goes and finds out that neither Locke nor Kate are there. And he, like Michael mentions, smart enough to wrap his hands, and he's going down into this hatch. This is where we get into another flashback. Do you guys want to talk on any of this moment first before we get to a flashback?
Again, fuck John Locke. He's just sacrificing Kate basically, and Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to know what happened to Kate. I mean, obviously we'll get to the end of the episode, but I am wondering, like, obviously what purpose these people or these other characters have for taking like Walt and Kate and Claire, and like why are they being taken? What purpose do they serve in this?
Yeah, we don't see Kate again. The last thing, the light flashes, she's gone, and then she doesn't turn up again. It's only locked down there when Jack gets down there.
Right.
Kind of again, bad leadership from Jack. Like, you just stand up there and give this whole big speech about togetherness. It's like, why do you need to go all the time? He needs to get involved, just like John Locke, because they're very much the same person. He needs to get involved himself.
Excuse me? I don't even know. Listen, he tells everybody, we're staying in the caves. This is the safest place to be. These people are supposedly, because remember, people are supposedly coming that night to attack them, according to Danielle still. So we're staying here. The caves are the safest place. That's the plan for the night. However, 2 of our people are now somewhere in the woods. As leader, I am going to go find them. Right? That is
what about like Saeed or someone who's like, if you're the leader, you send a soldier, you send someone else. You don't give this big speech and then abandon everybody.
Plenty of people, that is a plenty valid leadership style to be like, I'm not going to put someone else in danger. I'm going to assume the risk. That's fine. That's fine. Do I think he should have said Saeed? Yeah, he probably should have. But like, I don't think it's a bad character trait that he went out to go investigate. Like, that's perfectly normal. And he took a gun. He was ready.
He didn't even know what he was up against.
Right.
What was the smoke monster? Are you going to do? Shoot it?
Maybe. Who knows?
Oh my god. Well, I mean, I'm gonna love that. I mean, we see too that you guys, even all of season 1, are very man of science, man of faith here because of your loves for Jack and Locke. So it continues, and again, shouting out the name of this episode. In the flashback, we get kind of a lot of stuff that happens in this flashback, which is why I was leading up to Jack being an idiot. In this flashback, we have that, he's assessing Sara. We know it's Sara. He's assessing Sara here. She wakes up. She's like, what happened to the other driver? He's like, oh, he died. Starting off strong, Jack. Way to go. Like, you're just killing it, dude. It's great.
Actually, she's killing it because
apparently
the driver died.
apparently. But no, so then, I mean, he's talking to her about her injuries. He's letting her know, yeah, you ain't gonna walk. Like, you're screwed. Like, just again, bedside manner, zero bedside manner. To which Kristin of all people is pulling you aside and telling you you're a horrible fucking person. That's saying something. That's a problem, Kevin.
Listen, Christina Yang also did not have the best bedside manner.
Listen, this is Lost, not Grey's Anatomy.
This is a common TV doctor character situation where they don't have the best bedside manner because they're just so smart.
And don't be a doctor.
Dang.
But he's so smart and he's so good at it.
Is he though? Because his bedside manner sucks.
Well, we're gonna see how good is he of a surgeon.
Yeah, well, I guess we will because
he didn't even know that he'd done it.
Yeah, I was gonna say
we haven't even gotten there yet. This is just the assessment. Because here's the other thing. I'm pointing out, first of all, Christian Shepherd of all people is not the person that's giving life advice and like, don't be a dick move. Like, that's saying a lot. But he's like, everybody needs to hold off even till that 1%. Like, who cares? Let them have that hope. Like, it's not false hope. It's hope. Like, it's at the end of the day, it's hope. The fact that Christian is giving the advice on not to be an asshole is just by far the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
He's the seasoned doctor. This is a fine doctor lesson to have to learn. This is fine.
No, don't care. It's just not a thing. It's not a thing. It shouldn't happen, and Jack should be a better doctor than his dick of a dad, but here we are.
I would just like to point out about that Christian thing as well. Like, it is nice to have a moment of, a human moment for Christian, because we have seen him being a pretty negative character or, a pain in Jack's life. And he's right in this situation, like saying people want to hold on to something. You can't be so doom and gloom. Christian's 100% right in that situation. Hope's a dangerous thing to lose. So it's it's nice to see Kristin have like a positive scene in a way.
Yeah, it's also interesting to think about when we saw him at the wedding, which we know is going to come after this. He was, he showed up to the wedding and Jack was the one drinking and he was sober. So
for a
like
moment,
we see him here, he's like being helpful, like giving helpful advice to be a doctor. But we know that like when Jack has to go get him in Sydney, he's in like this major like bender. So like it's interesting to kind of like chart that progression. Like, oh yeah, like there was a time when he was normal. Like he wasn't a great dad to a young kid. He was probably a good dad to the young doctor in terms of like giving doctor advice, and then like
plummets.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I do think that is a moment that you don't get a lot of those Christian moments. We do get it also at the wedding too, and so, but we also cannot never forget who Christian is. So it's bad. I mean, there's worse parents. There's worse parents. Go ahead, Gregg.
I kind of saw it different. I just saw it as Christian taking the opportunity to pick at Jack.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's kind of a dick. Anything he does is wrong, it seems like, even if he's just being honest.
He was wrong there, though.
He was definitely
wrong. But I saw it as Christian being...
Yeah.
I agree with you, too. Yes, Christian was taking the moment to also, like, I'm a better doctor than you. Like, you are, you suck at being everything. But also that he did suck royally in that moment. Because, like, you just can't do that to people, especially patients. I mean, it's even one thing, too. Like, they've done studies on this. It's like, because a lot of times surgeons will listen to music in, like, their OR and things. Like, the conscious of people, like, if you're so negative of them going into surgery and things like that, we've seen that they don't recover, they've died on the table, things like that. Depending on the music that's playing in the OR, it's getting into their psyche. There's all these studies on this, and so like if you're going in like being negative Nancy, like what does she have to live for?
Just know if you're a doctor, do you listen to our podcast before surgeries
or during? But also, so again, bringing up Jack's horrible bedside manner, we then see him talking to her fiance, and he's like, like I know, probably one of the worst characters. Yeah, I know. We can turn the camera off. I say fiance very lightly in this moment because he's easily probably going to be the least favorite character of this episode. But with that, Jack doesn't. I think that this kind of plays a part in it, but also this guy is a douchebag. But like Jack is like, she's probably gonna need like professional care, and he's like she's not gonna be able to go to the bathroom. Like these are legit. He's very much of a dick in these moments of like, wait, she's not even gonna be able to go to the bathroom. Like, but that's a legit concern. Like when she's gonna need professional nursing, round the clock care from what Jack's saying because she's now gonna be paralyzed. He's not even like he's basically not even presenting it in a way to be like, okay, yes, but there's gonna be things that she's gonna be able to do. Let's wrap this into a nicer egg here, all right? But he's like, yeah, she's not gonna be able to use the bathroom. You know what I mean? Like Jack is just horrible in this moment where this guy is obviously like trying to realize what paralyzed means and all these things that she's gonna need. And we're not.
Jack is not horrible in this moment. Yes, that man is horrible.
Well, yes, he is in his own way. But I'm again pointing to the fact of the bedside manner that is lacking, just completely lacking.
You just want me to argue with you. You just want me.
I mean, should we point out that the fiance's name is Kevin and he's also a shit person? So I mean,
oh my god,
he walked.
Season 2 has started. He
walked himself into that one.
Yeah, well, there's a Sara comment. We didn't even need Pirate Sara on this podcast for that.
Yeah, there's no way I'm wiping Pirate Sara's ass.
On the fiance, his first question is she's not going to be able to use the bathroom by herself. The next thing that is on his priority list is like, can we still have sex? It's like your fiance was just in she almost died, right. And that's your first thought, your first priority. Like, fuck that guy.
Right. Listen, Jack being kind of a douchebag back to him, good, because this guy's been a dick, right? Like, in his complete lack of caring, exactly. He immediately goes to like, well, can we still have sex? And like, Jack's like, we're trying to keep her alive. Like, what is your problem? So like, don't give me Jack doesn't handle this. That guy is a lunatic. So
we
like,
already know. I already prefaced that by saying he's going to be the least favorite character of this episode. But as like
that is
present things in a lighter way. Like, yes, it's a very serious situation, but like,
you just want me to argue. You just want me to be mad at you.
He just had this conversation with Kristin about 1% of hope. Give the guy 1% of hope. Hey, yeah, you can probably have sex, but it's going to look a little bit different. So yeah, or yes, she's going to need help going to the bathroom, but she's still going to be able to cook or whatever the hell needs to be sprouted from your mouth. I don't know. Like, obviously this guy.
Kristin, go back to hating on Shannon so that you can fight with Michael for a minute. Like,
I was just pointing out because
you might be able to cook.
Obviously, the guy is a complete chauvinistic asshole. And we know this. So I'm using his terms of what he's probably concerned with. Okay, like,
is he though, or is that all she brought to the relationship? I'm just saying, like, you don't have context here. Like, if that's all she brought, then like, that's what you're gonna get.
What is this podcast right
all she brought to the relationship is she could use the rest of herself and had good sex. That's
oh my god.
Oh god, this is turned. Season 2 has turned us nuts. Anyway,
yes.
We see that Jack is prepping her for surgery. She has come in and she's like come to the realization she has now lost her 1% hope. Thank you, Jack. But she's like, I know I'm not gonna be dancing at my wedding, but she makes it light. She's like, I'll just have to wheel around. It'll be great. It'll be fine. Where is my fiance, by the way? Have you seen him? Nope, haven't seen him. Haven't seen him. That's because Kevin is a dick. And yes, that should be the new tagline of this episode. But with that, he goes, no, I'm going to fix you. This is where Jack now comes into this. It's going to happen. I'm going to fix you. You're going to be fine. I've got this. Go night night, and we'll see you on the other side. So, I mean, a lot happened in this flashback because, like, that was like a good, like, 20 minutes just on a little flashback here. Do we want to finish that off before we go back to the Jack in the Hatch?
Do you think it's funny when Jack's very intensely in the very intense Jack way that he tends to do, like say, I will save you. It cuts to like the other nurses in the room being like, oh, this is a bit odd.
Yeah, I was like,
has he been the one drinking?
Yeah, it sounded pretty like ominous and dark, and so yeah, it's definitely an odd moment for sure. And yeah, this Kevin guy sucks. So yeah,
he's right there, Jake.
I mean, I get no complaints. No, it's very Man of Sciencey though to just be like, oh well, there is a 1% chance that I am going to find the 1% because I'm going to like make the right choices and make the calculations and do the things exactly right and like follow the science. Like that's where it comes from. So like, yes, it does come off as strange, but like it's very like strictly the science. So that's why it's like that, and I'm okay with that.
I thought it was just showing that him and Locke are both hard-headed as hell and one single lane-minded when things hit the fan. Kind of showing a comparison.
Yeah. They're all fair options here. All right, I don't hear anything else before Kevin wants to start spewing some other Jack nonsense. I'm going to continue. So obviously back at the hatch here, you know, Jack has taken off. He gets to the hatch and finds that there's no one there, so he's rappelling down. He is, you know, comes down to this hatch where we're starting to like really see it all now come into fruition here. And he's seeing murals on the I'm getting there. He sees murals on the wall. He's getting to a part where his key around his neck is like being pulled from him, like with this magnetic force. Little thing, what's happening down here? What's going on? All of a sudden, massive blinding light and our favorite song blaring. And Jack is like, okay, this is weird. Let me investigate. We do see where he's coming up to investigate into a room We get this room that's like, you know, a little dome looking type of situation with a computer and a clock that is counting down. He's kind of trying to look at it all, what's going on, but where's this music and why is this blinding light? He goes to touch the computer, and out of nowhere, I wouldn't do that if I were you. We have Locke. Locke. Just what? Well, why wouldn't we? And where the fuck is Kate? Like, I'm here for Kate. Where's Kate? It's the first thing out. Like, what's going on? And then we see him. You know, what's going on, Locke? And a guy comes out with a gun to him all the time. So now we've got a situation. Thank you, Locke, for putting us in there because you couldn't wait until morning.
You couldn't wait.
Couldn't wait till morning. Now we have this person with a gun to your head. And so, I mean, this is kind of a major moment. We're getting like so much, like, Jake, I want to come to you if you watching this for the first time. We're now down in the hatch. We are starting to see what you were thinking, like, all along of this, you know, being whatever you know, a lab or, of some sort. And then now we have this weird, like, computer that no one's allowed to touch. And now this guy's pointing a gun at Locke's head. Where are you at in your first time watching this?
Crazy. I mean, you know, I was really, really interested from the get-go of this episode, and like it didn't let up, and like it just makes me more excited to see what's gonna happen next. I mean, we're gonna get to the flashback that leads up to this last moment in the episode, but just I was immediately intrigued, and as soon as we get to that flashback, then I put the pieces together of who this guy was, obviously. So, because they did show him, and the guy that shows up in the flashback, who we're gonna find out is Desmond. He had the same body type, same hair, so I'm like, okay, it's him. So
I remember watching this live, and when Jack's gun case key is getting lifted up by this wall, I was like losing my mind because what the hell is that? There is something powerful back there, some kind of powerful magnet, but why? And you know, like it's such a good show that really you're so invested. You're looking at every frame and trying to spot things. So when he's going through, it's like, where the hell are we? And there's this mural on the wall. There's 108 written on it. There's a pair of shoes just propped by the wall. And then, yeah, this big, like, dome. Like, did you guys, there was a show over here called The Crystal Maze, and it was very much like The Crystal Maze. It was a very good show.
I've seen it on YouTube.
So good. They go into a big crystal maze at the end that looks exactly like the dome from Lost, and they've got to grab money. Completely unrelated. I don't know why I'm talking about it for so long, but it reminded me of that.
Great.
Fuck John Locke.
Yeah.
That's all.
I got nothing on this. Nothing left.
I also was trying to get one of you guys to keep talking because my dog was barking in the background, so we're gonna run with it. We get to a flashback, and this is the next morning. Not the next morning, sorry, at nighttime after the surgery. Jack is running through the arena, and why we would do this to ourselves? This looks like torture. No, thank you. But he's doing it to torture himself, I guess, apparently, and just to run off some anger and all of these things. We do see another person running on the steps as well. Jack, of course, being the Jack that he is like, oh, race, but we're gonna race secretly, and so they start going at it.
Common. That's just Jack.
Jack falls and hurts himself. Guy comes up and talks to him. He's like, "What? You look like you're running like away from something. Looks like you're running to something. Like, what's going on?" And he's talking to him, and he's like, "Gosh, you know, like, I was trying to save this woman. We have this guy talking to him about he was going to take a sailing trip around the world." Jack does open up to this guy and says, "I thought I could fix her, but I can't. I didn't." And he's like, "How do you know you didn't fix her? You don't know these things." And like this kind of, again, just this man of science, man of faith moment coming into this even random stranger. We see that this follows Jack a lot. And it kind of is just this, I don't know, this is a kind of a really intense but beautiful interaction with a complete and total stranger. And I think that this is just like, we always see these like, just, I don't know, these details and like conversations and just like the rawness between certain, you know, conversations and things. And I just am like, I couldn't imagine opening it up to a random stranger like this. So you have to know all the things that Jack is feeling. Like he's obviously very distraught about the situation that's happening at the hospital, and I think that that's just like proving like the point of like he just spilled everything. This is a random guy, and it was actually a really kind of moving story, you know, in interaction. To which this guy says, "I'll see you in another life." Takes off. We have Jack the next morning with Sara, and he's crying to her. He's like, "I'm so sorry. I thought I could fix you. It didn't work." And she's like, "Well, then how come I can wiggle my toes?" And he's like, "What? What's happening? Did I hear you correctly? Have I been drinking like my dad? What's going on?" He goes and checks her legs. He's like, "Can you feel that?" She said, "Yes." He goes up to her legs. "Can you feel that?" She says, "Yes." They're both laughing and crying at this beautiful moment that he did, in fact, actually fix her, which, huge thing because it was like not going to happen. It was a very not going to happen moment, and he was able to do it. And then we get to back in the hatch where he's like, "Is this our destiny, Locke?" You know, these two are battling back and forth as they normally do. And Locke's like, "Just put the gun down." He's like, "I'm not putting the gun down. Where's Kate?" And you got this other guy is like, "You better listen," you know, whatever they're having, he's now involved. To which he comes out from behind Locke, and Jack goes, "You?" End of episode. Like, Jake, where are you at here? It's his first time watch because we've got like dude that we just saw not 10 minutes ago. What are you thinking here as your first time watcher?
Well, I feel like Desmond is now going to be this guy that's going to pop up. I think we're going to see him in a lot more flashbacks that he's been there all along, kind of planting the seeds. And like, I definitely think he is a big reason as to why a lot of this stuff ends up happening. So, I'm very intrigued by what we're gonna find out that he's put in place for these people to be here, or like, yeah, I think he has a huge part to play in what is going on. So I'm very intrigued and ready to see more.
Yeah, Desmond is an interesting one, and it's pure. We talk about destiny and fate. We get to talk about Desmond here as I sit in Glasgow. Completely coincidentally, I came to Scotland for this episode. So the whole conversation between Desmond and Jack is really interesting, and Desmond's also kind of like a unnecessarily a bit enigmatic, and when he's having this deep conversation with him, and he's like, "Let me give you some advice. You need to lift it up." And Jack's like, "What?" It's like, "Your leg." It's like, we weren't talking about the leg right now, Desmond.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm trying to remember exactly what I was thinking in 2005. I was not thinking Desmond was a ringleader. I was more like how did this other, like, we've seen how like a lot of the people on the plane interacted or overlapped because they're both, you know, they're all in Sydney or they're all, you know, from LA. So like their lives kind of overlap. But now you have this other person. And I was like, what is this person? Like, how does this person, like, it makes sense that they bumped into each other at the airport. It makes sense that they were like on the same plane. Like those interactions make sense. Like, where does this person fit in? I wasn't so much thinking that Desmond was in charge of things, or like influencing things. I thought he was another like not the plane crash survivor, but like along the same lines of like, how did you end up here too? Like, how did you get sucked into this? And I think that's probably because he seems so helpful in the flashback, but he's clearly been on the island for longer. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of my like, oh, like you're a fellow good person like the other people on the plane, you know? That was what I was thinking.
I think I was more along the lines of Jake when I first watched it. I thought he was kind of the guy in charge of the monsters and the polar bears. Kind of going back to season 1 when you were talking about the cabin in the woods. I thought it was that going on again. Like that kind of confirmed it for me.
Like I hope
he's the Bradley Whitford of Lost.
Right.
I hope I never have an interaction with this LA surgeon who is going to get me destined to crash onto this deserted island. Like that was my takeaway. It was like, don't interact with this guy. Don't go playing with him.
Yeah.
Don't run into him at a stadium because you'll end up deserted on the island too.
For me watching this like live, right? 2005, I'm sitting here and I'm just like the ending title of Lost popping up when you're sitting there after like you waited months and we got left at this like massive cliffhanger. I remember being like, I can't believe this episode's over because where the fuck is everybody on the raft? Like, why aren't we talking about this? I remember being so upset about this that I'm not even getting anything. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's a different, like we've seen kind of like these little bits and pieces of them like kind of interacting and whatnot. But now we're like Kevin saying, like we're getting this whole nother random like interaction. That's crazy. And so I just remember sitting there being like, I don't want more questions. I want answers to where everybody's on the raft. Where's Sawyer? What is happening? Listen, it's a very legit concern. It's a very legit concern of me. Then and now, where is Sawyer? I need to know. Because obviously last we saw my man, he got shot, and so I'm a little concerned. So I was not wanting to get more questions of being like, who is this? When did he get here? How did he get here? What is all this happening? I did not need all these new questions. I need answers to what's happening to my man. So, yeah, for them again to almost open up and leave us again on another cliffhanger. Like, I'm done with the cliffhangers Lost. I'm done. I need some answers. So,
well,
I mean, that's what Lost does. That's what
I
Lost
would tell you.
But me in that moment of 2005, I'm like, stop it with these, like, stop it. I want answers. So, I think that this is where a lot of times, especially I think other Lost people, because there are so many questions surrounding this island. There's like the mysteries of everything. I think that it's like, oh my God, you just introduced 20 new questions and I just wanted one answer. I just wanted one answer and I didn't even get that. And then you left me sitting there for another week wondering, how the hell are they going to like figure this out that they know each other? What's happening on the raft? What's happening to all the other people at the cave? Like all these things. I need to know the answer. So it was like a frustration moment, I think, for me. Very happy Lost is back, but I think I ended that episode like, ugh, not want this. I did not want this. I didn't ask for this.
Yeah.
This was one that should have been a two-parter.
Yeah.
Oh,
sure.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah. So, I mean, that I think that this, again, solid. I mean, I love all the Lost premieres and all the Lost, like, finales, all the seasons and things like that. Because they're all, I mean, every episode, not even just, like, we constantly see that with shows, too, that their premiere's really good, the finale's really good, but you kind of get, like, hit or miss throughout the season. Lost is consistently good, but, like, their premieres and finales knock it out of the park. Knock it out of the park 100%. So, excited to continue season 2 with you guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Well, with that, are we getting into our favorite and least favorite characters?
Yes.
All right. Favorite character, I'll actually go with Desmond just because I'm really intrigued by him and like what this guy is doing here. And see you in another life, brother. I can't do the accent, but like it's just I'm ready to see more of this guy. And then least favorite, I'll go the stupid douchebag Kevin.
I'm right here, Jake.
I love that all of our least favorite characters is going to be Kevin today. Nice.
I'm not sure about my favorite. I'm gonna go with Locke because he's amazing. I think when it comes to watching the show, it kind of depends where your focus is. Like Kristin, you were talking about being like, what's going on in the raft. Going into this episode, I don't think I thought about the raft once because I was so obsessed with this hatch for 4 months.
Well, not to interrupt you, but I mean, like, I didn't think about the raft until the episode ended, and I'm like, but wait, yeah, that I was definitely all about it in the moment, but then it ended, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, because I think the reason, especially when I was first watching it, why I was so interested in Locke as a character because he tended to be the person that was pushing towards giving us some kind of resolution of this where everyone's like not going down the hatch, and then Locke's like, screw this, we're going down there now. And I was like, thank you, Locke. We've waited 4 months. I want to see what's down this hatch. And Locke's going to give it to us. He might have thrown Kate down there first. Who cares? It's only Kate.
It's only Boone.
It's only
Kate.
Boone.
It's only Boone.
Kate.
It's only
It's
Kate.
only Walt. It's only Shannon. Like, how many other people are you gonna? It's only.
No, he won't make that. He cares about Shannon. We know that.
Let's see. Who are the other people let Locke make? Claire. It's only Claire. Charlie. It's only Charlie.
Yeah. Well, Gregg will agree. It's only Claire too.
Yeah, I always enjoy Locke as a character, and the dynamic between Jack and Locke is like my favorite character dynamic in the show. Potentially, they're so good back and forth, and yeah, Locke was great in this episode, despite what others might think. And yeah, I think we're all going to be across the board. My least favorite person is Kevin. He sucks. Sorry, we're doing characters. My least favorite character is Kevin. He sucks.
I love it. Kevin, Gregg.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, my least favorite character is Kevin. He's the worst. I mean, similar to Michael.
Don't talk about yourself like that.
Similar to Michael, that like while Jack is flawed and like this isn't like some of this, but like this is some of the reasons why I like Jack, right? Like that, like he does do the impossible surgery, like because that's the thing he's going to do and he's going to make it work, right? Like, and like, no, we're not going in the hatch right now because it's the middle of the night. And like, I do think he takes leadership, not because he is like insisting upon like him being the special leader, but like people came to him and looked for him for answers. So he's trying to provide them and he's trying to do the right thing. And like, it's just a lot of the things that I like about Jack as a character happen here. I mean, yes, he does, like, he is flawed. He does make mistakes, but like, he makes mistakes. Like I don't like him because he's perfect. Like I like him because he's a good character. So I think Desmond is super interesting, but I don't know enough about him to make him my favorite yet. And then like, I'm not picking Locke. Locke sucks. So it's Jack.
Gregg.
Having trouble with this one. But Desmond is one of my favorite characters in the show, so he's gonna be my favorite for the episode as well. But I'm having trouble with the Kevin and Locke and Sara.
Just pick all three. It's fine.
I kind of want to go with all three of them. Yes,
the one that's lying there dying in a car crash. That's who you're gonna pick.
She caused Shannon to be useless. You should be mad at her. She's the one who caused all of that for her.
Oh, Gregg, that was good. That was good. Cheers. That was good.
It's really hard on this one, honestly. Like, I really wanted to go for Sara, but Locke, for all the reasons you mentioned that he was good, is the exact opposite.
I don't know that I can say that Locke is my least favorite character because he does do it, but this is also a lot of the reasons why I don't like Locke.
I guess I'll go with Kevin and Sara together. It makes sense.
Flash.
Oh God. I keep away from her. God damn it. She's not even on this pod.
Why is it so perfect that it matches?
Okay. Obviously, least favorite is that son of a bitch, Kevin. Like, gross. Do not
talk about my mother like that.
Listen, just horrible, horrible person. Never again do I ever want to see a Kevin on my screen. But with that, my favorite character, I can't do it because Sawyer's not here, but I wish I could. But it's going to be Vincent. Picking Vincent. Good dog, trying to find Walt, trying to run away from Shannon. Perfect person ever. Like, go Vincent. Picking the dog.
Pick the dog.
I'm picking the dog.
I'm looking for the dog. Where the fuck you found the audacity for that, but okay, go ahead.
I'm picking the dog. Because I'm sure as hell not picking Locke. I'm sure as hell not picking Jack. And like Desmond, we got literally him just saying like, "I'm gonna shoot your head off and like see it in another life." I don't care enough yet to know, and I can't make sure. So Vincent, it is. Vincent, it is.
If you can pick Michael by his accent, you can pick Desmond just because of his accent too.
I mean, I could. I'll get there eventually. I mean, but
hey, mine's real. Desmond's isn't even real.
He tried really hard when I met him, though. But yeah, no. Yep, Vincent, it is.
All right. Well, let's get to the episode rankings. So the
because it's the only episode.
Yeah, I mean, this is for season 2 to begin with. This is going to be number 1 for now. But we said we wanted to see if, like, compared to the top 10 we have right now. I mean, this for me as well. I think this might be number 1, honestly, or maybe number 2. Like, it was a really good episode. It had me intrigued and hooked throughout the whole episode. So
I just pulled a Jake eyebrow raise on that one. Wow.
I had a feeling Jake. So I watched this episode with Jake, and like he was hooked. Like I saw how hooked he was on this episode, and so I had a feeling that might be the case. So to run us through the top 10, see if it breaks it, we have Exodus, Walkabout, The Pilot, Do No Harm, Confidence Man, All the Best Cowboys Have Daddy Issues, Deus Ex Machina in translation, House of the Rising Sun, and Numbers. So Jake, you're going 1.
I'm gonna go 1.
I was looking at it. I think if you look at the season openers from both, I do think the opener for season 1 was stronger. I was personally looking at the new number 4. And I just think Exodus was like unbelievable. Walkabout's one of my favorites. The Pilot's incredible. I think this is a really solid episode and it's really intriguing. But I think it's more like what's happening rather than it sets up a lot to come, I guess. So I'd be looking at, to be honest, I was looking at even like Do No Harm, the Boone one is really good. I don't know. I'm somewhere in the middle. Definitely top 10, but not sure where yet exactly.
I was like, I'm right there with you. I don't know if it beats Do Not Harm, but I was kind of in that 4, 5, 6-ish range for me. I do think it's bumping numbers off the top 10 for sure, but I agree with you on like the number 1. Like I don't think it is enough to beat Exodus. Like Exodus was so incredible. So yeah, I'm in that middle of like 4, 5, 6-ish area.
I think I would put it above the season 1. So I'm just deciding if I think it's 2 or 3 for me. I do think Exodus is better. I mean, Exodus is 3 episodes, so like it's a movie. Like you can't compare those two. Exodus is just really good. But do I think it's better than Walkabout? That surprise in Walkabout was so good.
Mm-hmm.
But then,
we're ranking 10 out of 10 episodes here. It's very marginal.
But then, Desmond. I think I would put it at 3. That walkabout reveal is so good.
Yeah. Gregg?
Yeah, I was having the same issue, and I think I'm going to put it at 2 only because the episode itself completely reinvigorated all of the questions I had and added a whole bunch of new ones, and it did it in a way that I'm not pissed off that the season opener didn't answer anything from the last season.
Yeah.
So I'll go 2.
We got a couple.
I didn't get really.
So we have I
think it averages to 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
Roughly,
you said 2, Gregg?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like
So
1, 2,
1, 2, 3,
3,
4,
5,
4,
5 ish.
Yeah.
So like
15,
Yeah, like 3, yeah.
yeah, so it knocks the Pilot down 1 and is the new number 3 underneath Walkabout.
Cool.
And bye numbers.
Rip.
Bye numbers. It's better than Numbers.
4 numbers.
4 numbers.
The numbers will be back. They always come back.
They never go away.
Yeah.
Never go. They're always here.
Yeah. Well, so that is our season 2 opener, and it's really exciting. I'll let you guys get to your spoiler section, and we'll see you in another week, brother, on the Tribe of Nerds.
John Locke.
Hello, everyone. We are here for our spoiler section, the Tribe of Nerds After Jake for Lost, Season 2, Episode 1, Man of Science, Man of Faith. So good. I'm also, listen, I'm giving a little bit of shit to Michael here because, listen, they watched this episode without me, and I'm very upset about it. So I'm gonna have to get the entire recording of Jake watching this episode. I'm gonna make him send it over to me because I wanted to see his face.
There's a lot of this.
I can imagine. It's insane. There's a lot that goes into this episode. I've got a lot of little spoilers. Do you guys have anything big that you want to start off first? Kevin, are you using the tiny hand, or it just happens to be in screen right now? Because
I'm just holding them.
Okay,
I was just checking. Like this over here.
Okay, I'm just checking. I never know. Anybody want to start with something major?
I mean, the only thing that I had said that then confused all of us before we started recording, because we weren't sure how true it was. I was just bringing up that Desmond saying, "How do you know?" this time caught me. I was like, "Oh, is that because like Desmond already knows that Jack did fix her because Desmond knows the future?" Like, so I'm not saying that is definitely what happened here. I'm just saying, like, oh yeah, that reminds me. Desmond can see things in the future before they happen.
I love that all of us instantly went like,
yeah. But before we start, there was a good 10 minutes before we started recording this where our brains were so confused and about to blow up, where we were trying to work out the time travel situation. We were like, I think I don't know.
Which is coming up at the end. Yeah, which is coming up the end of the season into season 3, which is. I can't wait. Season 2, it just picks it up. Like, I mean, it just, you know what I mean? It accelerates what Lost is, I think, even in jumping into season 3 as well. It's just like season 1, gets you hooked, and then just season 2 escalates it for me anyway.
I just want to point out, we talked about how often Jake is very close with his predictions. My jaw nearly hit the ground when he pretty much predicted Jacob's entire thing, but he's putting it on Desmond.
Yes.
This idea that Desmond is the guy that is bringing these people here, and he's gonna, and specifically he said he thinks he's gonna turn up in a lot of flashbacks, and he's always been there, and that is exactly what we're going to see from Jacob, that he's been there all along in these flashbacks. So he's on the right lines. He's just associating it with the wrong character. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I already
too early.
When Jake says these things and he's so spot on, and knowing me watching this, I had zero idea, zero clue whatsoever that this was going to be there. It infuriates me, and I will make sure to let Jake know this when we do find these things out, that you infuriate me that you guess this. I mean, major thing, spoiler alert, that we know is literally the next episode. I brought it up to lead it in is the raft. And I did that for a very specific reason, because I want Jake thinking about the raft, because we're about to get to all that later. And literally the very next episode, which he brings up a good point with Walt too, because I know that was going through my head when I first watched it, of why is he soaking wet? Is he dead?
Why is he soaking wet?
Why is he soaking wet? Because he definitely wasn't. He didn't go in the water. He did not go in the water. They took him off.
He specifically didn't go in the water.
Right.
The other two did.
But why is he on the island now? Did he escape and he escaped from them and swam away, and now he's back? But why isn't he going to everybody else? Why is he going to Shannon of all freaking people? And then yes, I will still do it in the spoiler section. But there were so many. And then what is he saying backwards? Do you guys ever know what he does say back? Because okay, I'm I know somebody's got to know this, because I actually I had to search this, because I'm and this is not just today. I searched this forever ago, back when I got the DVD set, and I still couldn't figure it out. I'm I need to know, and I found it out through way back then from a message board. But Gregg, what is it?
Don't push the button bad.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think I ever knew that. That's cool.
Here's my question, since we are in the spoiler part. Is this Walt, or is this a projection of Walt, because they discuss him astral projecting, or is this the Man in Black projecting himself as Walt? Because that makes more sense for the context.
All of the above. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, because it's always the Men in Black is supposed, I think, is only supposed to be able to take the form of dead people.
Right.
But
But why is
makes
Walt
the most
telling
it
them?
makes the most sense if it's the Man in Black saying this. Is the Man in Black able to take Walt's form specifically because Walt is special?
I think it's
also
more.
left the island.
I always thought that it was Walt being special because we've seen how, like, you know, thinking about the bird or thinking about the polar bear, like he like I don't know how he would have gotten to the point because he doesn't know anything about the hatch. So that's the part that always confused me. But I did think that it was Walt kind of because we do know that when we're going to get into this later on in the season when Michael has to talk to Miss Clue and she's sitting there and she's like, has Walt ever appeared in places he's not supposed to? So we know that he's like disappearing, like, you know what I mean? Whether like not physically full on body disappearing, like I'm assuming it's going to be like in those moments of those like trances, like the like think of like Avatar, they're falling asleep and he's over living his best life in Pandora. You know what I mean? So like I kind of envision that being like what's happening with Walt, that he's trying to, you know, warn them, if you will. And that's why he can't, like, why his stuff is backwards and not forwards, because he's not actually there. It's like him coming through, you know. So I don't know.
So maybe it's just one of those things that got cut out because Walt was growing too fast, and we just never really got an answer.
I'm more on the. I think it is Walt, and it's part of his whole being special in the astral projection stuff. We'll see Walt appear to Locke as well when Locke's lying shot in the ditch by my favorite character Ben. So
I was very happy
just
for
think
Ken
this
that
is
day.
A great day.
The great day.
That's going to be an easy favorite character for Kevin on that episode.
Thanks, Ben.
So yeah, I think that's just part of Walt's story that sadly doesn't get continued. Rather than a Man in Black thing. But I do think the Man in Black's interesting so we're going to get a Dave in this season too. And people have said, Dave, that is just a hallucination in Hurley's head. My head canon, and it makes too much sense for it not to be. My theory has always been that's the Man in Black. He's able to read Hurley and kind of scan his memories and appear as this like imaginary character, because his entire goal in that episode is to get Hurley to jump off a cliff, which is exactly what the Man in Black would be wanting Hurley to do as a candidate.
I love it because that brings up a really good point here, because we do know from that specific flashback that Hurley envisioned him all along. And so if the Man in Black is only able to take the bodies of these people that are dead, Dave never existed. So like, how is that the Man in Black? So it raises a good point, but it is obviously the Man in Black because he's trying to get rid of, you know, the candidates and things like that, especially Hurley. So it makes 100% certainty in sense, but it also does it because Dave never existed.
Right.
See it as a loophole just because it's not someone that existed. So it's not something where he needs a body. It's something that he can prey on Hurley with in this imaginary form. But that's just kind of my head canon on it.
Yeah.
That's not like a confirmed thing.
Because I'm also thinking,
you started, Kevin, with all of this bullshit. I'm just kidding.
And now I'm also thinking too, like because there's the time when Walt touches Locke and he says, "Don't open the hatch," right? So like, Walt is for whatever reason always against that station. Like, doesn't want them going in the hatch, doesn't want them pushing the button, but like, I don't know why. Why would he want them to not do it?
My only theory is that he just doesn't know enough about it. Like, it's just something that's his perception of it, that it's dangerous. But yeah, I don't know. I think that the whole Walt thing is something that isn't going to be satisfactorily, concluded. So it's one of the only things in the show where it's difficult to talk about and have something concrete because it doesn't continue throughout the entire run of the show.
I wonder if it's because that leads to him and his dad leaving, but his dad having to come back and then his dad dying.
Maybe, yeah. That'd be a fun little loophole.
Fun times. I also want to bring up too that later on in the season we do see that, and I hinted at it already, so I'm just gonna run with it. But we get Shannon's dad here, is the other person that died that Jack could not save. we'll eventually see in my favorite episode ever of season 2 when lo and behold Shannon dies. Bye, Shannon. We see that when they're finding out that he died, Jack does walk by them too, and that so it's the same day kind of situation. And then that's also the fact that they like totally did Shannon's story where you're left with wanting more from Shannon, and then no more Shannon. So I mean, it's kind of a hit or miss, but it will be a happy day for me. Yay for me! Can't wait. Thank you, season 2.
So cold-hearted, I hate you.
Thank you, season 2. But I feel bad for Saeed. Does that count?
No, it doesn't count.
The home wrecker.
Saeed was very sad. But no, I mean, I think that this plays a huge part. I was wondering if you guys, I specifically did not bring up the name because I was wondering if you guys were going to bring it up for Jake. Because it's definitely not something I picked up in the first time I watched it, like, ever. But then it's things that obviously I picked up watching it over and over again. So I was waiting to see if you guys were going to bring that up. But it brings up a good point because then we're going to go right back to this day, same day. And they've done that a couple times. Like we saw that in Exodus, kept going to the same day of them getting on the flight and things like that. So it's just kind of an interesting like way to bring that flashback back. Flashback back.
They're very good at like planting seeds of what's to come relatively soon, and then some things like way further down the line. Like this is going to be something we get to in like 6 episodes. Something it's relatively soon. Oh God, it's relatively soon. So yeah, it's. I don't think it's something I picked up first time, but it's again those little seeds where you're like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. No, for sure. Also, speaking of little seeds that might be a little bit further down the road, is Kate brings up when she wants to go help Locke, as she said, what if he falls down and breaks his back? That is foreshadowing what actually happens to Locke of why he ends up in the wheelchair. And that will be coming in season 3, Man from Tallahassee. So
good for Locke for not like going full triggered meltdown hearing that phrase.
She wasn't there.
Who did she say it to?
To Jack.
Oh, she said it to Jack?
Because he had already taken off, and when Jack was like, why are you going out there? She's like, he fall and break his back.
Okay.
But yeah.
I didn't remember that moment. I thought she said it to him, and I was going to say, good for him.
No. But also, I mean, season 2 not only gives us the beauty that is Shannon dying, but we also are going to be getting our Henry Gale, a.k.a. Ben, which, yay, because I cannot wait. I'm super excited. I can't wait for Jake to be like, who is this idiot? Like, who's this person getting caught in a trap? Like, I can't wait to get Jake's theories on this. And if he guesses it right, I'm going to be pissed.
It's so good, too, to, like, we get Rousseau. Now we get Desmond. Like, we get some people who, like, seem like maybe they're the others, but they're not the others. But then we get Ben. And Ben is the others.
Like, the other.
He's the other.
Right. I think what's crazy, though, is, like, I love that when they are bringing in Henry Gale, a.k.a. Ben, Henry Gale is, like, and it goes to show how, like, maniacal Ben is, because he's so spot on with all of his, I mean, he is even, but then you have Saeed that's like, did one step further. I dug up that grave that you claimed was your wife, and guess what? It's not the wife. It's you, sir. And then that's how we all know. But it's like, it's one of those that, like, anybody else would be like, oh, okay, yep, there's the hot air balloon. Okay, there's the grave. Let's pack up and go home. But it's what he thought was going to happen. And it's not what happened. But it's just so maniacal of Ben to, like, you are believing the story. Like, you're like, something's up. Something's not quite fitting. But also, like, the story is completely believable. And then, oh, lo and behold, there's the sunshine balloon. So it's got to be Henry Gale. And it's not until later in that episode when they show up and he's like, I dug up that grave. And you're like, oh, on the edge of your seat. But, like, Henry Gale is, like, a legit, like, you're thinking this is Henry Gale. Like, it's a good, he does a good job.
Yeah. And
you guys are looking at me like you guys knew that he was an other all along.
I never trusted anything that came out of his mouth.
I mean, I knew something was not quite right, but, like, when I first watched it, I'm like, okay, it's believable.
I remember watching it and being more like, you're still lying. Like, okay, there's the balloon. What did you lie about then? You're lying. Like, I never trusted a thing that came out of his mouth.
I just like that you guys all looked at me like, this bitch had no idea that this was not Henry Gale. Like, I mean, when I'm watching this for the first time, I was very convinced. But I was like, there is something not quite right. Like, there's something not... He's not telling the full truth, but, like, he's obviously Henry Gale for me. Sorry, Michael, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just love that you guys all stared at me when you guys are like this idiot.
No, I was in agreement. I think he kind of there's enough seeds of doubt there where things are adding up. And I remember thinking, like, maybe he is telling the truth, but he's just kind of a dick. Like, I thought what was so fun about the Henry character, where he's just very sarcastic and like sassy with them. And it's like, well, it doesn't mean he's another. He could just be like, that's his personality. But what Kevin will love about this is he is completely lying about absolutely everything. And the person that he completely puts in the mind blend and gets on his side is Locke, who he manipulates so well during that entire like story
throughout the rest of the series. Like,
we will get to all of the times that John Locke is so easily manipulated, and he falls for it again and again and again, and that's why I don't like him.
Except for Jack, he doesn't listen to shit Jack says the entire
right, but everybody
series.
Else.
Anybody except Jack, he's willing to listen to.
But also, let's point out the fact that good old Jack also did believe Henry Gale, too.
Yeah.
Oh, at least he was willing to treat him. Like, and also, like, I don't know. I can't wait to get the Henry Gale stuff.
I know, I'm so sorry. I'm like, we're supposed to be talking about Man of Science, Man of Faith, and I'm all like...
It's okay. It's a season 2 thing. This is the first episode of season 2. It's fine. The Swan State... Oh, you called it... I don't think this is recorded. When we were talking later, we were talking about the numbers. You called it the Swan Station. I was like, shh. We don't know it's called that yet.
Oh, really? I didn't even catch that.
Did he not?
No.
But you did see this for the first time.
Well, that's okay. Well, my bad. Sorry. It's like when I called the smoke monster the smoke monster. It's not a spoiler. Fine. It's not a fucking
It's
spoiler.
fine.
I mean, I guess it's a spoiler, but it's not like a massive spoiler. Like Sara being like, she wasn't even still a massive spoiler, but I looked at that as more of a like, oh shit.
No, this is like the first of many hatches.
It is. No, 100%.
Unknowingly, they could have discovered another one, but they didn't move the plane yet. So there is another hatch out there waiting to be found. And yeah, this is just an exciting episode. We've got the whole Desmond stuff. Like, Desmond is going to become one of the most important characters in the show, and his entire journey through time and space. The introduction of Desmond feels like we're really stepping the show into the next gear now, and then that's going to continue, like you said, with the Henry Gale stuff. All the stuff in the hatch, I just love season 2.
Yeah, season 2 is like you said, it really accelerates it.
I mean, season 2 gives me lots of opportunities to hate on John Locke, so I mean that's great.
Very true.
That's all the seasons that he's in.
This one's pretty good. But yeah, I mean, anything else like specifically Man of Science, Man of Faith that we want to discuss?
Hey, I have a small theory thinking on it about the Walt thing we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
What if he is astral projecting? He's not projecting to the right person and it's coming out backwards, and he was supposed to go to Charlie to tell him not to press the button. He was soaking wet.
Oh.
That's good.
That is really good. I don't ever think I ever picked up on that. See, this is why I love Lost, that we can sit here and all of us have watched it a million times and we're just like thinking about this.
I'm gonna take that as
everything y'all were talking about just kind of led me to that, and
that does make so much more sense too, of like why it was bad. Like it wasn't the right person. Yeah,
because he's still learning how to do it if he is able to do it.
Well, Dan, wouldn't that have been a thing? Poor Charlie. I don't even listen. I know, like Kaysen's almost to 4. Like we're like well ahead of you guys. I'm like Kaysen, we need to slow down because like I keep missing things that are up in the podcast, but Kaysen's gonna lose his mind in the finale because Charlie is his favorite and he's gonna like lose his shit. Like it's so funny to watch him like watch this with Desmond like foreshadowing it, and he's like, "You don't know anything, Desmond. Charlie's not gonna like." And I'm like, "Oh god, oh god, oh god."
Listen,
I know, like I can't. So yeah, it's gonna be a something, but also like we're gonna have to record the next day because I won't be able to move on. I was so distraught over Boone, like I cannot. So anyway, anything else that we want to add, or are we ending this session of After Jake?
No, I think that's it for this episode.
All right, perfect. Well, obviously, like, comment, subscribe. if you did not, I didn't even give you guys a spoiler. We just like really jumped into all of that. But like, listen, if you did not see Lost, and
if you don't know by this point that this is
like, yeah, if you watch this, I'm so sorry because I did not give you the moment to like leave because we really just jumped in because it's so good because it really does accelerate everything. But like, comment, subscribe, all the things, and if you want to put a comment in there, we'd love to read them out. But if it's a spoiler, put spoiler because Jake can't help himself. And with
read the entire thing and then ask us questions about like, what do you mean Charlie dies? And we're gonna be like,
no. But yeah, with that, thank you guys for continuing on with our Lost journey, and we will be back for another episode of season 2. Bye.
Bye.